Hello, my sensitive friends! If you are an empath or a sensitive soul or anybody's ever accused you of being too sensitive, this one is for you because we're talking all about when we pick up other people's stuff, how to know if it's ours or someone else's, and then what to do with it. I am Sky. This is the 80th episode from the Eye of Sky. I'm super stoked to be Sky, by the way, and I'm stoked to be here with you. First, though, before I get into all of this amazing empath sensitive stuff with all these tools that I've learned along the way being a sensitive soul, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Liz. Many of you know that I have been on a journey of really crazy, rapid, fast, amazing personal growth and evolution, and there is nothing like a 7-hour tour in nature with a good friend to bring everything back together and really pop you out the other side. So thank you, Liz. It's great to see you guys, Susanna, April. So we're talking about being sensitive, we're talking about being an empath, we're talking about what to do when you pick up other people's stuff. You may know part of my story is like I walked around picking up other people's stuff all the time, whether it be their emotions, maybe you can relate to me, or you just feel what someone else is feeling and you're like, wow, I'm not really feeling that, but it's certainly coming through me. Or maybe like you start to feel physical pain, like maybe you're watching a football game. I know everybody's experienced this, high school football game or basketball or something, and somebody gets injured, they like crack their shin or something. You're like, oh, and you grab your shin. That's feeling somebody else's pain, okay? It's coming into your bubble. So when you feel somebody else's stuff, obviously if you're watching that football game, then you know exactly why you're feeling that. Oh, that's somebody else's. But maybe it's a little more subtle than that and you don't realize that you've picked up somebody else's stuff. So maybe you went into your 5th period class and you're like, wow, I'm suddenly in a bad mood, but I was fine at lunchtime. It's that kind of thing. So the way that I figure out if I'm picking up somebody else's stuff first, which I didn't used to know how to do, but I'm so grateful to now, so I'm going to share it with you, is I start to say, I am Sky. I am now Sky. And I say my name. Obviously, you don't want to say Sky. You want to say your name. And I say, like, I am now Sky. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because last night, in the middle of the night, I woke up with like some weird surging pain in my brain right here and then also in the back of my head. And I started to think, like maybe you would, like, oh, my pillow must be weird. And then I thought, wait a second. Why would I feel it right here if my pillow was weird? And so I had to start going through that, like, wait a second, this must be somebody else's thing, because there's no physical reason why that should be happening to me. I started doing that. I am Sky. I am now Sky. And what I imagined was, like, if you imagine your shower head had like fiber optic lights or something in it, so every single drop that drops down, you could see light in the drop. I imagine like a sprinkler kind of like that over my head of light, and I just kind of like wash away if it's anybody else's stuff, obviously that's not Sky. It's just washing it off, and I think of that light as like love. And so I'm sending it back, I'm releasing it back out into the world or into Mother Earth with love, so it's purified. And then I'm starting to just come back into myself and not be feeling somebody else's stuff. Now, sometimes another way that I take care of that is I start to ask, like, whose is this? So I'll bring pictures of people into my mind. Now, I don't do this consciously. I don't consciously try to think of who are the last 10 people that I saw, because sometimes it's not somebody you've seen recently. Now, oftentimes it is. You got in their bubble, they got in your bubble, and you picked up some of their stuff and took it home with you. But sometimes, have you ever thought of somebody and then suddenly they texted you? Or you thought of somebody and then they called you, or they showed up at your door, or you saw them later that day and you're like, that makes no sense. I haven't seen this person in 10 years. It's like you're picking up on each other's energy waves. And you call it a premonition. Who knows first, the chicken or the egg? Like, did they text you because you thought of them, or did you think of them because they were texting you, kind of thing? It doesn't really matter. But the idea is, you have some sort of connection. So I let my subconscious mind, I just kind of do what's called like a soft gaze, where you're just kind of like staring off into space. Maybe you did this in school, where you're like looking at your teacher, but you have no idea what's actually happening because you're not even focused on anything. And so when you're looking like that, it's like called like soft eyes, and you let your subconscious just bring people forward. It oftentimes will be people that you've seen recently, but sometimes not. And so when you do that, and you get like this feeling. Now for me, I get a gut feeling. For other people, you might get like a surge through your spine, or for other people, you feel like you're about to cry, or maybe you feel like you're gonna barf, or maybe you feel all sorts of things. There's lots of different ways that you can receive confirmation. Oh yes, it's this person. I used to get a metallic taste in my mouth, actually. So whatever that is for you, you'll figure it out, and then you're like, okay, it's this person. Now here's where the trick is. A lot of times we start to think, okay, now I know it's this person, I have to do something. And I have the t-shirt in every single color that says I am responsible for everybody else's stuff. That's not healthy, and I've learned that, and so I want to share that with you. So what I do then is Marianne Williamson, I don't know if you're familiar with her, definitely check her out if you're not. She has this thing, it's kind of like a prayer, and you say, okay, spirit, universe, God, energy, source, higher self, whatever word resonates with you. You say, spirit, show me. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? And when you lead from a place like that, when you're coming from a place of like, okay, let me know if I'm actually supposed to do something here, then that lets you be open without your ego taking over and saying, I have to put on my superhero cape and go save the world right now. So I really like to say that little prayer to just kind of recenter myself and figure out if I need to do something. Now, from there, if I don't feel like I'm like pushed to do anything, because we do need to take responsibility for things in our world. We can't just like, sit back and let it happen. But at the same time, not everything is our responsibility, or maybe we're only responsible for part of it, and we need to let the universe orchestrate the rest of it to make it work, because we've got a higher power, and so does everybody else in the world. Nobody's pig died and made us God, right? Okay? So it's kind of that idea of, if we start to figure out, oh, it's this person, they come forward in our mind, it's their stuff I'm feeling, I'm getting a warning about them. And then we feel like we need to get up in the middle of the night. We need to get rid of our own sleep. That's really important. We lose our beauty sleep. I'm just kidding. That's where we kind of run into trouble. So that's where I say, okay, whoever this warning is about, whether I know who it is or not, I know that all is well, and I trust Spirit to take care of it. And I will do whatever I'm pushed to do. But if I'm not really called to do anything, it's just something that I happen to have this superpower sensitivity thing. I call it a superpower because that's way more empowering, because a lot of times people just say, you're too sensitive, you shouldn't be feeling that, give it up. And it's like, no, it's okay to feel those things. And it is a pretty cool superpower to have, but sometimes we have it and it's on all the time, and then we don't get to take care of ourselves. So that's when I say, like, okay, all is well. I trust that Spirit's going to take care of this. I ask Spirit, angels, God, universe, whatever works for you, I ask you, please take care of this, and I trust that you'll take care of this. And now I'm going to do my best to go back to sleep, because I need to honor myself. So that's kind of what I do when I get into all of this. So if you're picking up other people's stuff, if you're picking up their headache, or you're picking up that they're all just scrambled in their mind, or they don't feel well that day, or they're sad, we don't have to shoulder it. We don't have to take it on as ours. We can recognize it and recognize, oh, this isn't mine. I'm feeling it, but it's not mine. And then from there, we can do something with it. From there, we can say, okay, higher power, whoever you are, whatever you are that I'm a part of. Or if we feel more confident about what we call that, we can call it God, the universe, whatever. Y'all are going to take care of this, right? Okay, great. I'm going to move on with my day then. Thanks. And all is well. All is well. That's a really powerful affirmation to use. And it can be scary sometimes, because when we grow up in an environment where we feel responsible, I grew up in an environment where if I didn't take care of my siblings, like, I was very afraid of what was going to happen. I felt very responsible for both of my parents' well-being. I felt responsible for my siblings' well-being. And so it carried with me into my adult life. And so sometimes things are happening to people, and I get these little messages, these intuitive messages that says, hey, something's happening, or I feel it in my body. It can be like a knee-jerk reaction, an old program, running in your head that says, you must fix this. But sometimes it's not our responsibility. So I figure out if it's mine by clearing everything off. I am Sky. I am now Sky. And if it goes away, awesome. And then I ask for guidance. What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? And if there's really nothing there that I'm feeling guided to do, I say, hey y'all, you got this, and all is well. So that's what I do. I hope it's been helpful. If you have anything that you do to figure out, is this mine or is this somebody else's, please share it. Even if you have any ideas about what I've said that feels weird to you, or feels like you have a different opinion, please share it. That's the way that we grow and evolve with each other, is by sharing with each other what we think, what we believe. And then, you'll say something to me and I'll say, hey, I didn't think about that. And then I get to take my thoughts even further, and we go back and forth, and we all grow and get better. And then some introvert's going to be reading it and they'll say, oh my gosh, this all makes so much sense. And then they're going to be benefiting from it, and we'll never know, because they're not going to like the comment or anything, because they don't want you to think that they're stalking you like 2 months later. Whoever you are that's watching this 2 months later, this one's for you. So that's just the way it goes. So please, please, please do share what works for you and what you do, and try this out and let me know if it does work for you, or if you find something else. I've had a great time reconnecting with you. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.